Hello. I just got the weirdest signal from Molly. I don't know what that was. She just wanted to indicate that we're live. I think I got the message. I'm so glad you guys are here. Welcome to Facebook Live with us. This is really a very exciting topic that I can't wait to jump into. So quick introduction if you're brand new to me or to us or to Project Life. My name is Becky Higgins and I'm the creator of Project Life, and we as a team are all about helping people to cultivate a good life and record it. I believe that there are so many benefits to recording our memories in any format, and we've created Project Life to be one of those formats that's an option for people to make things simpler, easier, faster, less complicated. It's all of those things. So if you're less familiar with Project Life, just head over to our YouTube channel and search Intro to Project Life or Welcome to Project Life, and you can learn more about it from an overview standpoint. But what I want to be talking about mostly today is for those of you who are already Project Lifers and you've been doing this or you know something about it and you are looking for or interested in some ways to save time in doing this, because the problem that I'm seeing, and maybe the problem that you're seeing, is that Project Life in and of itself is a simple format. It's a simple system. But I tend to think, especially we women, are so good at complicating just about everything in our life. And so I think that that is something that's happening. I think that a lot of us are making it a little bit harder or more time consuming than it needs to be. And so that is the purpose of this broadcast, is that I have some tips, some ideas, and some solutions to help you save some time as you are doing Project Life. Okay, so that's the point of this broadcast. I have my notes handy because we have so much to cover. Now, having said that, this is a live broadcast. You are here with me. And for those of you who are actually watching this live, because we know a lot of you are watching this later, but if you're here live, I want to hear from you. So as I'm going through some of these ideas and tips, if you have questions related to them, or if you have ideas that you would like to share on time-saving tips with Project Life, that's relevant. And I want to hear from you. We want to hear your suggestions and your ideas, and of course your questions. I'm here to answer them. So please let us know. If you've never been a part of one of our Facebook broadcasts before, the magic happens because Molly is here watching for your questions. So even though I'm not seeing them, because this is not selfie style, Molly's watching for those questions and comments and will totally interject with what you guys have to say. So Molly, go for it.
So many people love your shirt and are so glad that you kept it.
Oh, okay, so thank you. This was part of my recent Stitch Fix. And we're not talking about Stitch Fix. This is not going to become a Stitch Fix broadcast, but a lot of you who have been following for a while know that I am a subscriber to the Stitch Fix, where you can regularly get a shipment of clothing and accessories. And so I just got my latest Stitch Fix box over the weekend, and yesterday morning on Instagram stories, the short little video clips on Instagram, I shared my unboxing and just shared a glimpse of all of my things. And so thank you for the compliment. This is from Stitch Fix. It's the only thing from my 5 items that I've actually had a chance to even try on. And I knew I would love it. I just want to make sure it would look good. So anyway, that's what I put on this morning, and I will keep you posted on the other 4 items on Instagram stories when I try those on. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. All right. So here's what you can expect. The tips that I'm going to be sharing related to Project Life are specifically about your actual process of documenting life, like just going through the day-to-day, week-to-week regimen of like how you take pictures and that sort of thing, as well as the actual scrapbooking part, the part where we are sitting down to scrapbook, whether you're doing it with a physical product or the digital or the app. The principles still apply across the board. Okay, so that's what you can expect as I'm sharing tips related to all of these things, and that's where I want to dive in. I want to give you just one disclaimer, and this is really important for you to feel, and hopefully this will resonate with you. Everything that I'm sharing is working for me personally. I'm a documenter. I have been most of my life. Everything that I'm sharing is the place where I am right now as a scrapbooker. So this isn't necessarily what I was doing 5 years ago, and it may not even be what I'm doing 5 years from now. But right now, as of these last couple of years, where I feel like I've had my most successful scrapbooking experience ever, this is what's working for me, and that's why I'm excited to share it with you. So don't take this as you should do this or you should do that, but just kind of listen and watch, and from a perspective of, hey, this is working for somebody else, and I would invite you to take away from it what you feel might be a good fit for you. So let's get on with this, okay? All right, so my first thing that I really want to hit hard is that I think that it has been very, very beneficial. No, back that up. I know that it has been very beneficial for me to have a daily routine in my documenting, a daily routine. So let me explain what that means. There are several things, and I have them written because I don't want to forget. First of all, oh, go ahead, Molly.
Did you ask them to share the broadcast yet?
Yes. I was going to, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're good. So Molly's reminding me to make sure that you guys understand that if you feel like what is valuable in this broadcast, what I'm about to share, would be beneficial to those people that you know, some of your friends or family, who are struggling with their scrapbooking or who need the time-saving tips, just share. All you have to do is click the little button that says share, and that would mean a lot to me because then that means that more people will get the benefit of understanding how to make their life a little bit easier. So please share away. We would appreciate it. All right, so when it comes to the daily routine, the things that I do on a day-to-day basis that I feel like save me time are, first of all, I am taking all of my pictures with one camera. It is my phone. I'm currently using the iPhone 6 Plus. That's just my current phone. I am planning to update to the iPhone 7 Plus. But I used to take all of my pictures with a DSLR. This is way before phones were really good with their cameras. And then even in that transitional period, I was kind of using both. And now I'm just 100% using my iPhone. That is a time saver in and of itself. May not work for everybody, but it totally works for me because all of my pictures are coming from this one place, all right? Secondly, I take all of my pictures, well, I'm gonna change this a little bit. I take most of my pictures in horizontal or landscape format. Now, the reason why that's a time saver is because when I go to Scrapbook, specifically using Project Life, I like to stick with one page layout design. It's known, those of you who are Project Lifers, and I really am speaking to Project Lifers here, that's known as Design A. Well, Design A is designed so that there are horizontal 4x6 photos. So just from simplicity's sake, to make this as streamlined as possible, I'm taking all of my pictures in horizontal format, knowing that when I go to Scrapbook, which I'm going to talk about later, then I'm just slipping everything into the Design A in horizontal format. Now, having said that, last year I was pretty strict about that, and it saved me time because I was never changing my layout. Having said that, this year I have found myself, once in a while, I do take an occasional vertical picture that I know can be either an enlarged picture on a different page layout, or it will be a little 3x4 within that design. So I know that you know what I'm talking about. But for the sake of saving time, taking all my pictures in the same format is a big, big deal. Okay, another thing that I try to emphasize a lot is taking ordinary pictures. Now, as far as how that saves time, my point with this is that if you're just not sure like what that looks like or how to do it, I am sharing photo tips on a regular basis on social media. So hashtag BH photo tips is the best way to search all of those in one place on Instagram, but I share them here on Facebook as well. And the time-saving tip associated with this is just to simply encourage yourself, challenge yourself to every day take a picture of something seemingly ordinary. Something that you feel like it's mundane, it may not be interesting, but I promise you that 10 years from now when you look back at those pictures that you think are just like, they are a piece of your story and they do matter. And so the time-saving tip in that is, of course, just to put a reminder on your calendar or something to just do that every day, and then you don't have to even think about it. Okay, so another challenge, and this is a tricky one for a lot of us, and that is to scale back. Scale back on taking so many pictures. We're in a digital age. I get it. I know that we're all just snap happy, and I think that's really cool. I think it's better to have too many pictures than not enough. At the same time, if you are so consumed with snap, 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 everything is a picture, then A, you're missing out on really truly like living in the moment as much as possible, right? But secondly, you are giving yourselves more work to do with the pictures that you're taking. Think about that. If I go throughout my day and I do my thing and I take 5 pictures, I've taken 5 pictures. I now have 5 pictures sitting in my camera roll with which I can do whatever I want, whether I scrapbook them or not. Or if I go throughout the day and I take 100 pictures, I am automatically adding that like burden. Now, photos are not burdensome. That's not what I mean by that. But you know what I'm saying when it comes to scrapbooking. If you have that many more pictures to go through, that's a little bit more overwhelming than just a few, right? So even when I go to something special and big, like a wedding, right, and I'm part of that wedding event and everything, I still make a conscious effort to be as minimal as possible with my picture taking, because I am quite certain that in 20 years from now, I will not care to see 74 pictures from that cousin's wedding. I'd like to see a couple. So that's what I mean by scale back, and then you are saving yourself some time. All right, Molly?
Well, someone asked if you find yourself using the same layout over and over, which is what you're saying that
Yes.
you do.
I do. Yeah. So was that just a point of clarification?
Yeah, because she said she finds herself going back to the same 2 to 4 layouts.
Yeah, you got it. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's a time saver. Now, with Project Life, we obviously want to give you variety. And I know a lot of you appreciate the variety and you like to change it up, switch it up, and you have more of that creative energy for that. I live and breathe scrapbooking. You guys know that I've been doing this forever, and yet even I appreciate taking a lot of that creativity out of scrapbooking, and I utilize my creativity and my creative skills in so many areas of my life and running a business and raising a family and serving my community. I don't have to be creative in my scrapbooking, and I choose to be as simple as possible. Again, speaking from personal experience, I don't feel the need to be highly creative with my scrapbooking. In fact, that's exactly what deters me from scrapbooking, is that feeling and that, that pressure that I used to put on myself to be creative with everything. It kind of burned me out of scrapbooking, which of course is how Project Life began.
So yep. Allison Ward just said, I wish I would have known that tip about the horizontal pictures in Design because she just took 3,000 photos of a trip to America, all vertical.
Oh, that's okay. So you're good. What's cool is that you, Allison, right? As I said, Allison, you've taken all these pictures vertical. The concept is still the same. The principle still applies. So because you took them all vertical, you are now able to work with what we know as Design D, or is it D? I think so. And we also have one, and I can't remember, where's Carrie when I need her? But it's the one, we have a pages layout design. Just look at it. You'll see it in Project Life and the app and digital, in all formats. And it's all vertical pockets. So picture a 12 by 12 page, vertical, 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 right? So score, you're set. You're totally going to be fine. I love when you guys chime in. This is awesome. Let's see. Okay, another thing, be intentional about the photos you take. This will also save you time. So what do I mean by that? Well, this is the best way that I can describe what is in my head, because it's really kind of a lot up here. But I want you to be a little bit more intentional. If you have this desire, as I explained, to scale back and take less pictures and not be so photo heavy, well then what do you take pictures of and what matters? What I would encourage you to do is try to think ahead. In other words, begin with the end in mind. The end being, okay, when I am months and months or years and years from now, or when this scrapbook of photos is sitting on my great grandchild's lap, what pictures will matter? What tells the story? Which details around me and in my life and in my circumstances are valuable? So that's why I say be intentional about it. And the birthday parties and the weddings and Christmas morning are all great. They're all important. But okay, let me put it this way. If I received a scrapbook from my grandmother, who's no longer with us, and it was full of Christmases and birthdays, which is great, I would not really know my grandmother's story. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't know what she enjoyed doing. What were her hobbies? Did she like to cook? Was she a homemaker or was she a business person? What kind of a story do we want to tell? Now, mind you, this is not just for posterity, and I just talked about this the other day on social media. Scrapbooking's for you. I want you to have the best experience out of it, even if no one else ever sees a scrapbook. So when we take the time to actually document some of those smaller details and some of those seemingly uninteresting things, I truly believe that it helps us to be more aware of how blessed we are. Which, think about it, what does gratitude do? Gratitude helps us to be happier. All right, so there's so many psychological benefits to scrapbooking. And back to my point, be intentional about the photos that you're taking and do that in a way that will help to tell your story. All right, another tip related to this daily routine is that I delete pictures every day. I do this. Is that crazy? So maybe some of you do this. Like, tell me, chime in if you do this, and Molly can give me a little bit of an idea. But every night my routine is that I look at my camera roll, I see what I've taken. And again, some days there's like 2 pictures. Today might be one of those days. Some days I'm taking 20, 30, 40. It kind of depends on what's up. But every day I look at my camera roll and I think, how important is this? Will this really matter in the future? Ladies, I do not overthink this. And I'm saying ladies because I know Sean's in here, and I know I've got a few guys in here, and I acknowledge you as well. But I think that women are typically really genius about overcomplicating everything. I know, because I'm one of them, right? We overthink a lot of things. Don't overthink your pictures. Don't overthink it. So if you want to be on a deleting party rhythm like I am every night, delete those pictures that are just like, they're okay, but whatever. And just leave the ones that you feel are part of the story. But every day I delete and every day I edit. I'll come back to that in a second.
Several people are agreeing they do the same thing, and they say it just makes the whole process less overwhelming.
It is less overwhelming. Yeah, because when you go to actually scrapbook, think about how facing, what's either in your camera roll or what's in your Dropbox or what physical prints are in front of you, how much easier would it be? How much time could you save if you're sifting through a dozen pictures versus 100 pictures or 1,000 pictures? So that's my whole point with deleting. Now, along with deleting every day, part of my routine is also to edit my pictures. And that is just, I am not saying that this is something that everyone should do, but I want to share it with you because I'm being super honest and open about what I do. And for me, it's therapeutic. I enjoy it. It's easy. Pick, Tap, Go, which I've talked about many times, is my favorite photo editing app right now. And they've integrated so well with my iPhone. And I don't know if you guys have caught on to that, but I used to pull pictures into my Pick, Tap, Go app, edit, save it back to my camera roll. No longer. Right there in the camera roll, I can tap on edit, and there pops up magically the little Pick, Tap, Go app. I edit it right there, and it pops it right back into my camera roll. So it's magic. And that will all make more sense when you actually play with it yourself. Okay, so I think that was it that I wanted to share on my daily routine. My weekly routine looks a little bit like this. I want to remind you that something I've said many times, for those of you who are newer, my belief is not much different than many of yours, and that is this when it comes to scrapbooking. If it is not simple, and if it is not quick, it will not get done. So for me, I have chosen at this stage in my life, almost 25 years worth of scrapbooking, my whole adulthood, I've become in this place to keeping it as streamlined and simple as possible so that I will get it done. So my weekly routine involves using the Project Life app. I love the physical product. I still use it for my kids' albums. I love that digital is an option for people who want to sit on their computer using Photoshop and using our templates and cards and do it that way. For me, I need to hold my phone in my hand and tappity tap, 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 and make it as simple as possible and do it right here. I also don't want to sit at the computer another second, but I can rest my back, I can lay down on my bed, put my head on my pillow, and I'm being very specific. I lay in my bed every Sunday and I do my weekly layout. That's my routine every week. Sometimes I get 2 or 3 weeks behind, and guess how long it takes me to catch up? Like 10 minutes. Because it's in the app and it's so simple. And I'm not even printing my photos first, right? So that's part of the routine, is that when I'm using the Project Life app, I literally don't even have to print the photos first because I create the pages completely in the app and then I print those, okay? So every week I am scrapbooking using the Project Life app. I am laying in my bed and I go, all right, this is a situation. I do a family yearbook and it's week by week by week. So I keep it consistent. This is key for me, is to keep it consistent. My consistency is that every week is a weekly layout. So I do 2 pages, a left page and a right page, knowing they're gonna face each other in my scrapbook. And I look at my camera roll from the past week and I go, all right, which pictures are gonna tell the story of our family? And I make sure I get representation of all the family members. And I'm not saying every single week there's an individual shot of every single person in my family. I'm just saying in general, I'm pretty even and fair across the board. I have family pictures, I have dog pictures, sunset pictures, David and Becky pictures, kids pictures, individual I just kind of cover whatever happened. And so that's what I do. I look at my camera roll from the last week and I go, okay, which ones of these would be representative of our story this week, of what happened? And so if there was a birthday party, well then yeah, I'm going to throw a picture or two from the birthday party. But I'm also going to throw in a couple of pictures of the ordinary stuff that we did. Did you have are you, okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Oh, here's another tip. This is really important for me. So I mentioned that I use Design A, the Project Life layout, and I'm pretty consistent about that. I also stick with one collection from Project Life. Crazy, a little bit crazy. I'll tell you why that seems so crazy, and maybe to a lot of people, because we have so much available, and they're all really, really cute. So why do I stick to one? For simplicity's sake. Now, it might seem crazy for me to promote that idea because I have so much to sell, but I'm not in the business of selling. I want you to do what makes sense for you. I want you to have success. That's my priority. So I'm sharing that tip with you from a standpoint of like, this is what works for me. I simplify. Now, having said that, I simplify in using one collection. It's called Project 52. We obviously designed that one specifically to help people who want to do a weekly documentation, like a family yearbook, like the way that I do it. But once in a while, if we go on a special trip or there's a special occasion where I have an extra layout, you better believe I'm tapping into some of those other collections. But how have I saved myself time? Because I'm not spending the time every week when I scrapbook poking around, looking at all the different collections, wondering and overthinking, and I just don't do it that way. I stick with one collection, I keep it simple. Let's see. Oh, one more thing on this is that if you feel like you'll get busy and you're not sure if you're going to come around to it, my suggestion would be that if you want to do something, say, weekly, that you put it on your calendar. You guys, we have these calendars built into our phones. We have technology. Use it to help you. And so I actually have this as a calendar item in my phone. It's, you know, it's all syncing. It's on my phone, it's on my computer, it's everywhere. And it shows up as an all-day item, as a to-do that I'm going to work on last week's PL52, Project Life 52 layout. It's on my calendar. I can't go a week without forgetting because I just do it. The reason I have my calendar is sometimes my Sundays on occasion are super busy, and it kind of takes that reminder that I see on the calendar to go, oh yeah, that's right, I want to do that. So it works for me. Now, how this might look for a physical scrapbooker, I'll touch on that really quick because I described how I use it as the app. This is where, if you want to chime in what works for you so that other people can read your comments and look back at that later, that'd be great. But as a physical scrapbooker, and I can speak from experience because I did this weekly format in a physical way a few years ago, is that every week or every couple weeks or every month, whatever that rhythm looks like for you, you batch print. You print those photos that you know you want to use in a batch. You don't do it like every day you're printing a photo necessarily, unless you want to. But you sit down in one sitting and you go through and decide which photos from that week or from that couple of weeks or month or whatever, and you print them. And then you sit down with your physical Project Life pages, you slip everything in, and then at another time when you have a few more minutes, you slip in all of the Project Life cards, you add your journaling, and so forth. So it really is like a similar type of flow, but it's with the physical product, which means, of course, you have to print your photos first. So do what works for you and get other feedback from other people as well. Now, when it comes to choosing photos, let's talk about that for a minute. Each time you go to Scrapbook, whether you're doing a yearbook or you're doing a theme album or an event or a trip or whatever, you do have to face that question, which photos do I use? How do I choose which ones? And this is probably more of a reiteration than anything, and that is that you want to choose the photos that are going to best tell the story. Remember the analogy I gave with, like, if I received a scrapbook from my grandma? I really mean that. I want you to think ahead. What kind of story would you leave if this were being passed on to somebody, or if a friend came to your house and picked up a scrapbook without you there, without you walking that friend through everything and describing it? What pictures could you just leave and it would depict the story that you want to tell? That's kind of my big thing that I think about. Also think about the big picture, the grand big picture, beginning with the end in mind. Like, what's the purpose of this scrapbook? Case in point, my family yearbook. What's the big purpose? What's the big plan? Well, the purpose of that family yearbook is not to just spotlight one child, and it's not to say, look at our great trips that we went on. The purpose of our family yearbook is to truly show a variety of our life and family experiences that we have that make us who we are. That's my goal. That's what I'm trying to accomplish with the family yearbook. Go for it, Molly.
Someone asked, what do you do if you had a super busy week and you can't possibly fit it into a 2-page layout?
Yeah, so that's where there are no rules, right? You do what works for you. And so that's when you just add another layout. So if I'm going through my family yearbook and I'm just going week by week by week by week, and then we just had this jam-packed week full of activities and cool things that I'm like, I can't just leave that out. You don't have to. That's not a rule. Nobody's saying that you have to limit it. And that's where you would add in a second layout or an extra page or an extra 5 pages if you want. There are no rules.
Or even an extra insert of a different size page protector just within the layout.
Yeah, I'm glad Molly brought that up actually, because when it comes to physical project life, you do have a lot more flexibility with that, because you can flip physical 12 by 12 pages, right? Week by week or event by event, big pages. But in between, we have page protectors or photo pocket pages that they accommodate fewer pictures, and so they're smaller in size. And so instead of the full 12-inch width, you get like a 10-inch width, or we have a 6-inch width, or we have a 4-inch width. It depends on the configuration. And all of that can be seen in our shop. And I would encourage you, if you're less familiar, to just head over to our shop on beckyhiggins.com, and you will see everything there. Just click on photo pocket pages, and you're going to see all of our different page designs and configurations, and that will help you out a lot. So yes, having those in between pages is a great idea. And please don't feel like you can't do that, right? There are, like I said, no rules at all. Was there something else?
A few people have asked for your time-saving tips for catching up.
For catching up. Can you write that down?
Yeah,
I'll finish this part about choosing photos and journaling, and then we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Let's see where I left off. Let's see. Okay. I've actually covered a lot of these. That's why I'm looking to make sure. Yeah,
I think
I've covered most of what I need to. Let's just let's talk on journaling for just a moment. Journaling. Okay, so a lot of people feel a little bit intimidated about the writing part, and a lot of people feel like that's like the last thing they want to do. And I get it. Like, not everybody's a writer. Not everybody likes their handwriting. Blah, 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 blah. Right, I've heard it all. The thing is if you leave your scrapbook full of pictures and there are no stories, it's really hard for anyone that might get to receive that scrapbook or see that scrapbook to understand anything about the pictures. And so that is why pictures and stories go together. That's what makes a scrapbook. And it really helps to define what was important to you. It helps to illustrate, why did this matter? It helps to preserve the story of, we went here because. So when it comes to journaling, this is my very best advice that I can give you. If I'm sitting down to journal and I'm stuck and I don't know what to say, I'm going to pretend that Molly, my friend, is sitting next to me. And I'm going to pretend like I'm just saying, well, Molly, this is what's happening here. And oh my gosh, I remember when that happened. Oh, my shirt, I love that shirt. I used to get Stitch Fix and blah, 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 blah. It may not have anything to do with the event. It may not have anything to do with the facts of the who, what, where, when, why. But anything that comes to my mind that feels like a memory or that it's associated with it in some way is worth writing down. Stories don't have to be long, prolific written stories. They don't have to be all of the facts and the details. It's just something. Just write something. That's my best advice when it comes to journaling. And again, don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. If you don't like your own handwriting, I am not one of those who's going to shove it down your throat to say you must include your own handwriting. Do I think that your own handwriting should be in there? I do. Do I think it needs to be on every page? I do not. I think that when you write, it's your writing. If you type it or if you handwrite it, it is still your story. by all means, try to get a little bit of your handwriting. I don't care if you like it or not. I want to see a little bit of your handwriting in your scrapbook. But if you are struggling with writing, I'm going to tell you something that I don't share a whole lot. My handwriting, and I handwrite, right, like in my notebooks, and I do things like that. But when it comes to journaling, I have almost entirely given up on handwriting. And the main reason why is because my hand hurts. I think I have burned my hands out from creative lettering. Those of you who know, 20 years ago, that's what I did. And shading and all of the artwork that I did, like my hands hurt. And I don't think I have arthritis or anything, but the older I get, the more they kind of hurt quickly, like after I've handwritten. Every night, every other night or so, I write in my kids' journals, and I just write one little thing about something I noticed about them. If you want to know more about that, on BeckyHiggins.com, the blog, you can actually search We Noticed Journals, and you can see all about that because it's worth reading. But on a regular basis, I'm writing in their journals, and by the end of writing 3 short little paragraphs for each one of my kids, or let me rephrase that, 1 paragraph per kid, you get what I'm saying, my wrist hurts. So my point in bringing this up and being super honest about that is I don't handwrite in my scrapbooks. I use the app for one. But secondly, even if I was using the Project Life physical product, you know what I would be doing? I'd be creating my journaling cards in the Project Life app and printing those 4x6 prints, cutting them in half and slipping them into pockets. Time saver? You bet. You want to know why? Because if you use Siri and you're like, we went to the park, comma, and it was so much fun, exclamation point, blah, 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 blah. Siri will type it for you. Or if you're on Android, it's called what? Voice to text or something like that. It's awesome. It's like the best thing ever. And I am not typing more than I already was typing throughout the day. I can be lazy. I'm not handwriting, but I'm still getting my stories preserved, and that is awesome. All right, one more thing on journaling. Choose the voice that you want to use, okay? So instead of wondering, like, should this be from my perspective or should this be from, just stick with one thing and then you're not thinking about it every time. So my personal philosophy is that I like to journal with my voice because I am the documenter. I'm the one that's actually telling the story. I'm the one that's preserving the photos. So instead of trying to put words in my husband's mouth or put words in my children's mouths, I feel like that's not appropriate. They can say what they want to say, and once in a while I do have them directly quoted in my scrapbooks, but for the most part, the journaling is in my voice. Okay, I'm just about done with my tips, so please, if you've got questions, get ready because I'll take a few questions at the end of this. I just want to remind you that if you are using Digital Project Life or the Project Life app, that you do back up your pages. Now, that's not related to a time-saving tip necessarily, but when you think about it, and Wendy, who does our Project Life app customer service, can totally vouch for this. If you do not back up your pages and something happens and your phone completely explodes, or your child throws it in the toilet, or whatever happens, and you lose all of that work that you've done, you will cry all the cries, okay? Technology is not magic all the time. You have to have those pages backed up, so please, please, please back them up. If you don't know how, just go to the Becky Higgins YouTube channel and search Project Life app, backing up pages, something like that. Just normal keyword searching. And we have a whole video that Carrie walks you through exactly how to back up. It is not complicated, but if you've never done it, we're happy to hold your hand, walk you through that, and then you can learn. So that's all I wanted to say about that, okay? 2 things that I do to save time on printing. Now, this isn't so much for the physical scrapbookers, but for if you are using the Project Life app, or digital for that matter, but for the Project Life app, 2 things. First of all, when I print my Project Life app pages through the app, I am saving myself so much time. I'm not exporting them and uploading them to another service. I'm literally tapping on the app right there on my screen. It says order prints. Tap, and then I choose which pages I want and what my size and quantity are, and boom, magic, done. We will send you the completed pages. We've done videos about this. You can search it on YouTube and see more about that. But that is in and of itself designed specifically to save you time and to make it easier. Now, we don't mess around with quality. We have superb quality with our print partner, which is White House Custom Color. They print phenomenal quality, and our borders are like perfect. So you are getting the top of the line quality, awesome pricing, and all of that is done directly through the app. The other thing I do with printing is I don't print every single week. because there's like a $5 flat shipping fee, right? And yes, I pay for my shipping. And so I want to print in a way that makes sense. So I don't print every week. I print probably about every other month, sometimes every 3 months. So if you want to kind of drum up some of your pages and print a little less frequently, that would be fine. It's worth it. Okay, so a few last tips that are a little bit more on the miscellaneous end. One thing I wanted to say, and I will emphasize something that I've already talked about, and that is consistency. No matter what your approach is, the more consistent you are, the more efficient you will be with your time. That is a proven fact. Having said that, if you are the type that is creative and you feel like you need to let your creative wings spread, then by all means, shake it up. Don't keep it consistent. The point of bringing this up is that we each need to connect with the way that works for us and that makes sense for us. And so what works for me and consistency and keeping with the same collection and the same layout design and doing it on the same day of the week, these things keep me on a roll. You guys, I'm always caught up on my scrapbooking. That's how I have found success. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what will work for you. So if you do have to be more on that creative end, then by all means, do that. Another thing, and this is my last thing, I think this is my last thing. Make a decision and move on. All right, so when it comes to which card should I use and which picture should I use, just choose. Just pick something that makes sense, that you think is nice and it looks good and it feels pretty, or whatever goes into your decision making. But once you've made that decision, don't second guess yourself. You made the decision. You're a smart girl. You picked out the right picture. I am sure of it. So make your choices and move on. And that is how you can save yourself time. I guarantee that if you go back and you go back and you go back because you're second guessing and you're not sure and you're lacking confidence in those choices, you will be stuck and stuck and stuck, and you're not going to be moving forward. So if you like to be stuck and that feels good to you, all the warm fuzzies for you. But if you like to just like get it done and move along, got to make those decisions and move along for sure. And then the last thing I would say in connection with that is to save your perfectionistic tendencies, because we all have them. We all have them. Save those perfectionistic tendencies for other areas of your life. If you're really concerned about like how everything is just so, use that kind of concentration and that kind of energy in how you are a wife and a mother, or how you are in your work, or how you are with your neighbors. Use those efforts and that type of energy for other things. And I'm not saying you shouldn't in scrapbooking. I personally, as a scrapbooker forever, love and appreciate the fact that some of those fine-tuned details are joyful and they're fun. But I have also seen a lot of overthinking that comes with that. And I know that perfectionism is a thing that a lot of scrapbookers struggle with. So that's what you want to be careful of. Okay, now, we need to wrap up, and I want to make sure I'm not missing any questions. Are you wanting to make a grand appearance?
You need a water.
I'm good, thank you. I will take a sip.
I thought you might be getting a
Oh, I am.
Try.
I did a lot of talking. So do we have questions?
So the one question we're going to go back to is, how do you catch up?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so catching up. So, okay. I may have just spit water across the room. Catching up is a relative topic, so I'm not going to go too deeply. Without knowing your specific situation, it's hard for me to answer how to catch up, because it's kind of like opening a can of worms, right? Like everyone's situation is unique. In general, if you are scrapbooking a lot right now, but maybe you just haven't been scrapbooking for years, and you're like, well, what about those lost years? How do I go back and do that? My short advice, because otherwise this will go into a whole other broadcast, my short advice is to choose one topic or theme or event that you absolutely feel excited about. It could be 20 years ago to your wedding. It could be that last trip to Hawaii. It could be the year of 1998. It doesn't matter. Just whatever you're feeling kind of excited about and motivated about, that's where you would start. And then once you've done that, then you can kind of make this master list of, okay, if something happened to me next week and I only could, do one scrapbook, like what would it be? And I don't mean that from a morbid standpoint. I mean that from a practical, like what's important to you? What do you feel needs to be left? That's the way that I would advise you to approach that. It's a good question. Any other questions?
Someone asked, when will you be working on your kids' albums again, or are you constantly working on those?
That's a really good question. I'm going to come back to that in another broadcast. I'm being very intentional about that because I've actually taken a little bit of a break in working on my kids' physical albums very intentionally. Not on purpose at first, and then with time going on, I'm like, ooh, I am so glad I didn't keep up with what I used to be doing because what I'm doing now makes a whole lot more sense. And the short explanation to that is that I have decided to not include photos in my kids' scrapbooks anymore. What am I talking about? There's a whole explanation for that. It's all their stuff, not their pictures, because their pictures are very well represented in my family yearbook. Short answer for a very deep conversation for another time. But again, that's what's working for me, and I really appreciate you asking. That's a great question. Yeah, okay, anything else? Okay, well, we've talked a lot. This has been a lot of sharing. I hope that these tips are helpful for you. Now, here's the thing that I want to make sure that you're doing. I already mentioned, go to YouTube and check out any of the videos that seem of interest to you on Becky Higgins' channel, the Becky Higgins channel on YouTube. Also, if you are not subscribing to our emails, that is the place to be. We share exclusive content in our emails, and we share information that is helpful, that is useful, that is hopefully helping and aiding to your goals of cultivating a good life and recording it. How do you subscribe? It's free, it's fast, it's easy. You just go to beckyhiggins.com/subscribe and just take the 3 seconds that it takes to fill in your email address, and that is all. And guess what else? As soon as you subscribe, we are sending you a free downloadable PDF that we've designed that has all of these fun questions to ask your child that they can either fill out themselves or you fill it out for them if they're not of the writing age. And it's the cutest like interview type of thing to include in the kids scrapbook. So I want you to make sure that you are getting our emails. Plus, last reason, well, there's a million. Last reason that I'm going to say that you'll want to be sure that you're getting our emails, especially now. It is October. October around here is one big party because it's our birthday month. We celebrate our birthday all month long. We're 7 years old, right, as a company. And so we are doing 7 surprise flash sales throughout the month. We just had our first one yesterday. If you missed it, it's because you weren't getting our emails. So make sure that you're subscribing to our emails so that you can be in the know and be the first to know about every single flash sale that we do this month. Got it, good. Okay, our next Facebook Live broadcast is going to be this weekend. We are going to be at the Pinners Conference in Scottsdale, Arizona. We are here in Arizona already, so it's like a hop, skip, and a jump over to be there at that show. So you'll want to watch for that because we'll take you on a tour of our booth. We'll show you all the products, and we're going to have a good time. All right, anything else? We good?
We're good.
All right, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.